These kinds of programs are what's actually really causing obesity, because the more of these that you try, the more depressed and powerless you feel and unsure of yourself, as you doubt your own ability to be able to choose for yourself, to be able to actually moderate your own behaviors and take control of you, of yourself, of what's happening for you. This is Katie Gordon, and you're listening to the Wait is Over podcast. Welcome, health and freedom seekers. Sit back and relax as you come on this journey of overcoming obstacles so you can lose weight, gain health, and live the life you've been looking for. Hello, listeners, and welcome to this week's show. I'm your host, Katie Gordon, and the wait is over with Dietless Living 360 degrees. There's no recipes, food regimes, or exercise programs to follow. This is simply about how to take your life back, how to take control, because we all have a voice and we want to be heard. We want to forget about dieting, focus on living, and lose weight. And to do that, we need to create a new mindset, a mindset that gets us over the obstacles and challenges of life and our own unconscious programs, because that's ultimately what's really impacting on our weight and health and causing habit relapse. And the purpose of this podcast is to share with you what I learned from 25 years in dieting hell and spending over $100,000 working out how to step into dietless living, because nobody should have to go through that much BS just to permanently lose weight. And today we're talking about the madness of the diet and weight loss industry that is strangling the life out of anyone who has an actual weight problem. We're all looking for this thing, this magical recipe formula that will release us from the shackles and trauma of our weight. And it's a real source of aggravation for me when I read about these so-called no-diet weight loss methods that are absolutely a diet, as they impose some kind of rules and restrictions on how we eat and how we approach food. And after 25 years of trying so many weight loss solutions that did nothing but ultimately cause me immense mental, emotional, and physical anguish. I mean, I paid a lot of money, a lot of money to go on weight loss programs, to have a consultant, I paid to go on Sure Slim and Nature's Way or the Natural Way or something. It was basically a keto program with a ton of vitamins and stuff that you had to purchase and take and pay for your consultations. It was madness, the amount of money that I spent. And I tried a nutritionalist, I tried a naturopath, I paid people to tell me what I should and shouldn't be eating and when. And not to mention all the books, the food combining diet, the blood type diet, the juice fast, the water fast, the intermittent fasting. I mean, what they say about all the benefits of fasting, I'm sure it's all true. Science tells us it is. But the whole fasting thing isn't applicable to how we live our life. And most of the interest in fasting comes from how amazing it all works for all the monks. And do you know how a monk actually lives? Well, I'll tell you how they don't live. They don't commute in heavy traffic. They don't go to a hectic job. They're not a stay-at-home mum who's trying to run a household with screaming kids. They're not subjected to constant food marketing that is there all day, every day. They don't have to shop in a supermarket that has 60,000 plus food items on display at eye level, like just marketing popping out at them. And they aren't in intimate relationships and having to deal with the myriad of day-to-day issues that is a human's life out here. These fasting diets and eating regimes and time-restricted eating windows don't do anything to teach us about ourselves and what's actually driving our eating behaviors. These are for people who don't have issues with food. Did you know that we have up to 21 eating habits and behaviors that we have to break through to be able to break free from our weight without habit relapsing? And I mean, I was just reading the other day about this eating window diet. They call it, what is it? Time restricted eating windows. And it just made me very hot under the collar. You get a 10-hour eating window in every 24 hours. And I mean, as I was reading through it, it was already contradicting itself by saying you can choose when your eating window is. That's up to you. That's your choice. Which means that you could choose to eat between midday and 10 p.m. if you like. But it also said don't eat after 7 p.m. So really, your eating window isn't your own choice, because if you're not meant to be eating after 7 p.m., then you can't be eating between 12 and 10. Right. So there's already contradictions in the rules that they provide. It always sounds so simple. And so, that's so easy, because it also said during your eating window, don't obsess about calories, fats, and carbs. There are no rules about what food you consume. You can eat whatever you want. And I quote, what they said was, you can have your chocolate, your chips, and your wine, provided they're in the eating window. And that to me is just the stupid advice ever to be given to anybody who wants to lose weight. Because ultimately, like I said, we've got up to 21 eating behaviors that we have to move beyond to be able to prevent habit relapse. And these kinds of programs are what's actually really causing obesity. Because the more of these that you try, the more depressed and powerless you feel and unsure of yourself, as you doubt your own ability to be able to choose for yourself, to be able to actually moderate your own behaviors and take control of you, of yourself, of what's happening for you. I mean, my weight ranged between 68 and 93 kilos for over that 25-year period. And each time I dieted, I used a different approach, a different diet or an exercise regime, hoping that one of them would lead me to the forever results that I so desperately wanted, that I so deeply desired. But they didn't, because none of them were addressing the problem. None of them were helping me to overcome me and overcome what it was that was driving me to consume foods that I knew I didn't want to eat, because I knew they were taking me to places I didn't want to be. And after every diet failure, whether it was because I failed to stick to the diet or I stuck to it but didn't get the results that everybody else got, that happened to me a lot, because we're all different, and they always use these people who have the most miraculous weight loss changes. Or perhaps my failure simply was that I did lose the weight and then I put it back on, humiliated yet again. I was always so mentally and emotionally fragile after failing in whatever way it was on a diet. Honestly, it just wore me the fuck down. It diminished my confidence in my ability to achieve anything, because I thought, if I can't control myself, if I can't control my own eating and keep the damn weight off, how am I meant to be able to achieve anything in life? Because everything in life requires us to have an ability to work with ourselves to move beyond things. And, changing our diet and elevating our exercise habits is actually essential to losing weight. But because nothing about our unhealthy habits makes any sense except in the light of our own unconscious mind, we need to understand what our 3 systems of health consciousness actually is, so that we can develop our own personal health leadership, so we can lose weight naturally through sustainable habit change. It's the only way it's ever going to happen. The future of our health and happiness really does depend mostly on your ability to change your unconscious thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And it's not the next new diet that's going to save you. It's a new mindset coupled with understanding new skills, strategies, and interventions. Because unless you understand yourself, how can you honestly expect to create any kind of a lasting change? How can you expect habit relapse not to be inevitable? I was only able to keep the weight off for a couple of years when I was doing those weight loss solutions that they had out there, because none of them were teaching me anything about myself. They weren't teaching me how to overcome these eating behaviors that I developed. And Dietless Living personal health leadership weight loss programs are definitely not a cookie cutter weight loss program. They are the exact same program that I used to lose over 20 kilos naturally and keep it off for the last 12 years. And you know, getting started is really, really easy. All you need to do is click on the link in the description and you can be Dietless Living today as well. Thank you for watching or listening today. And honestly, if you want more help with this, just book in for a private session and let's just get it done this week. Because life is for living and an ounce of adjustment is always easier to implement than 20 pound of change. It's time to enjoy the life that you've been looking for.